Hey friend, John McLennan here, and in this video I want to share with you 3 secrets for learning how to make music with scales. And applying these 3 concepts in your practice is going to help you go from maybe you've tried to play some solos or you've worked on some scales but you can't quite make it sound like your favorite players. Work on these 3 things and you're gonna see your playing improve. So let's get straight into it. The first thing that I want you to focus on is that you don't want to typically play the entire scale. So let me give you an example. Let's say we take our A blues scale here at the 5th fret, just a typical 5, 8, 5, 6, 7, 5, 7, okay? So those are the notes, and then a lot of times we'll keep going and learn it up to the next octave. Now what you don't want to do in your solo is just play that. You don't want to go. That's going to sound like you are practicing. And oftentimes when we look at the great players, they might use pieces of the scale, but they're not that often going to play a lot of the scale. So you don't want to play the entire thing. So here's an example of how you can use just a couple notes and turn it into music. So for example, let's say I just took the top 2 strings, 5, 8, and then on the first string, 5, 8, 5. Okay, that's going to be the notes that I'm going to use. So 5, 8, 5, 8, 5. Now when I play those 8s, I'm just going to give them a little blues bend, and I can make it sound like this. 1, 2, 3. So right away you could hear that that sounds more like a blues lead as opposed to and even if you get really fast with playing scales, it still doesn't sound as cool as just going and turning it into a phrase. So you want to avoid playing too much of the scale, just work with a couple notes of it. So that's secret number 1, and I'm going to break down 2 more secrets for you. But before we do, if you're new to the channel, I want to give you a gift right away. I put together this awesome fretboard guide that shows you the 5 chords and scales that I use to map out the entire fretboard. And this is going to be so useful for your blues solos, if you want to jam along with backing tracks, or if you want to play along with your favorite recordings by people like Eric Clapton, B.B. King, Buddy Guy, Freddie King. This is what's going to help you map out the entire fretboard, and I want to give it to you completely for free. All you got to do is go to johnmclennan.com/fretboard guide, and you can download it right there as my gift to you. So for secret number 1, we're not going to play too much of the scale. We just want to use parts of it. Now, example number 2 is to experiment with rhythm. So instead of just playing like what I played a second ago, quarter notes, you want to experiment and get creative with the rhythm. And a lot of the times in the blues, you might use a triplet rhythm, which is a group of 3 notes. You could count it like this: 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Here's an example of a lick using the scale, but also combining it with a triplet rhythm. Check it out. Now in this lick, I am using actually quite a bit of the scale, but you'll find that there's like a threshold. Like if I kept going, now it starts to sound like I'm playing a scale versus playing a melody. So here I'm hammering from 5 to 7 on the 4th string, then 5, then walk down 7, 6, 5, low 6th string, 8 with a little pull, and then end on 5, that root note. So it's gonna go 1 and 2 and So that's example 2, and that's more on the lower part of the scale. So you have the high part here, and then you have the low part down here. For secret number 3, I want you to start to think about phrasing and building vocabulary. So this comes through learning solos and through learning lines by your favorite players. And when I say lines, I mean licks. I say those two things interchangeably to me. Really, it's a melody, it's a lick, it's a line. It's the language of the music. So let me give you an example of that. So right away, I just played a couple notes from the scale, but you can hear that that has a real blues feeling. Like that's something Muddy Waters might play. And what I'm doing here is I'm sliding from 8 to 10 on the second string. Then I'm sliding down 9, 7, 5. So that's a 9, slide to 7, pull off to 5, and then end on 7 of the 4th string. It's a very common type of phrasing that you hear in the blues all the time. So this, and then the lower part. So just a couple notes of the scale there, but we can really start making music with it. So just to review, those 3 points are: 1, don't play too much of the scale. As you can see, there's like a threshold of how far you go before it starts to sound like you're practicing versus playing. Number 2 is to experiment with rhythm. So rhythm can bring your solo to life. And number 3 is you have to develop the phrasing and the vocabulary, and that comes through imitating and copying your favorite blues players and your favorite blues solos until it becomes a part of your playing. So hope these 3 points help you out and give you some tips for playing better blues guitar solos. And to put all this together even more, be sure to grab my fretboard guide at the first link down below. And this is going to show you my system for mapping out the fretboard. I use just 5 chords and 5 scales. And chances are you already know the 5 chords. So this is going to build right off of that and give you a system for mapping out your entire guitar neck so you can start improvising anywhere on the neck and having so much fun playing guitar. So just go to johnmclennan.com/fretboard guide to grab it as my gift to you. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and for more blues guitar soloing lessons, check out this video next.